We are live. Welcome back, everybody, to another transmutational episode of the best darn show on the internet, the Sharon Show. My name is Brandon. I'm joined always by my co-host Sharon. How's it going, Sharon?
It's going well.
It's going.
Transmutational, I like that. We're
Yeah.
talking alchemy because we're reading a book called The Alchemist.
It-
And we started on time, 3:33 Eastern, 12:33 Arizona, which does not follow daylight savings except for in the Navajo Nation. So
oh, I did not
they
know
do.
that.
They do observe. Yeah, it's funny because I only recently learned that.
As Biggie would
Goes to show you
say,
how much
sorry,
time. Yeah, out.
as as Biggie would say, and I think that they it's funny because in Biggie's for a quick story, in the Notorious B.I.G. in his first album, it came out, and then they later they did some edits, and it wasn't like swears, right? It was things that were, I don't know, politically incorrect, and one of them was Navajos greet me and they teepee, and they like blocked out Navajos because he was like saying Navajos, like ho. And
Oh, we saw something up when we were traveling that was like homemade pie, and it was like HO, but it was like in Utah. It wasn't like in the Navajo Nation. And it was like, why? It was
ah,
like HO,
yeah, like
like
Navajo.
homemade pie. And I was like, Cody and I were like, why is it HO hyphen made? Anyway, go ahead.
Homemade. Maybe somebody stole the me from home. Yeah, so anyway, it's funny. And the other one I will bring up, I think it was this is different though. It's that song All About the Benjamins. It's a P. Diddy song. Anyway,
That
but
is hilarious. I was just telling Cody that because he said something about he has some like glasses that are like they look like the Benjamin Franklin glasses. They were like his first pair ever. And he's like, "Yeah, my Benjamin Franklins." And I'm like, "It's all about the Benjamins."
yeah, exactly. It's all about the Benjamins. What? So
I
there's
don't
this
even know the
song.
song, but anyway, go ahead.
It's one of those songs where there's like five rappers on it, and Biggie's the last one, and Diddy's in it, anyway, but there's one part, I think it's one of the guys from the Locks, Jada Kiss, maybe? No, one of them, but anyway, he's like, you should do like we do, stack chips like Hebrews. Or no, maybe that was Puff Daddy that said that. Anyway, but they
Whoever it
block
is.
out, like I got the first one that came out and it said Hebrews, but later, even if you bought the unedited version, it's like you should do like we do, stack chips like, and then they just nothing. Like they didn't even block it out. They just
Are you
they did that like in the 90s. Like so the song came
That's
out probably in like
ridiculous.
97, I don't know, but and they did this by like 2000. They like were like we can't be saying like stack chips like Hebrews. Like what? So every time I hear that song, I just laugh. I'm like, it's so funny. Because, we'll start to show everybody soon, I probably, but if you're gonna prevent people from saying something, it's probably worse because then they're gonna want to know what it was. And, it's like when you make things taboo. We've talked about this before on the show,
Oh my.
right? You make it taboo, then everybody wants to do it. Speaking of making things taboo, he was facing south, but now he must watch all right.
Well, okay, just FYI, you don't have the pyramid scheme turned
Oh
on.
no.
The Great Pyramid Scheme.
There it is. Okay. I just want to make sure you can see it. I have shorts on. Okay. What a beautiful day. Well, we have a quote for everybody. The Great Pyramid Scheme's on morelawsmoreproblems.com. Click on the Oversharing tab to join the Great Pyramid Scheme. All you gotta do is subscribe and follow us around. We're losing subscribers. It's so funny,
Yeah,
everybody.
we're like the opposite
I
of
know.
everyone else. We're like losing subscribers.
We lose
I
like
think
three a month. It's like we're slowly hemorrhaging. I don't even know, honestly, how these numbers work, everybody, just so people know. Like, a lot of these subscribers I had before we started the show, like, I think I was at like 400 or something. I don't know, or 300. But anyway, yeah, it's funny. I think as people like delete their accounts and then remember, who knows?
maybe who knows what it is. But I think I don't know, it's like we're doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing,
Yeah,
which
and
I
that
don't mind because I'm not like everyone else. usually.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why our show is better because we aren't like other shows. We're not worried about our view counts. We're not constantly begging you for money. I just do a commercial like once or twice a whole show. We just want you to witness our journey, and we like having some witnesses, for when we're saying this stuff. It's nice to have an audience. So it's like our therapy. Hey, what's up, Kathleen? And what's going
Yeah.
on, MS? Hey,
Money.
money, money, money.
Money, 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 money.
Tony, hardcore, what's up?
Money.
Yeah.
Who sang that song? I don't even know.
Oh, that was
Mr. DJ, you should know.
I
Oh,
should know that song.
I'm kidding.
Bow, bow,
Thank you,
bow, bow, bow,
Tony.
bow. I think it was sampled so many times. I'm trying to remember the. I know Pink Floyd sings "Money."
Yeah,
It's
money.
again.
That's a
Yeah,
good song. Yeah.
I played that at the. I did a gig for Financial Jones for a financial company, which I won't
Financial
mention.
Jones. Brandon Jones.
Yes. Yesterday I was like, AKA, what was the whatever it was? I was like, whatever
Mm.
Jones, and then I found a word that rhymes with Jones, and I can't.
Think of it now.
Stones? Yes, Jones and Jones.
Yeah, Stones. The Rolling Stones.
Scones. That's what it is.
Stones.
I'm like Sassafras Jones. I'm gonna eat some
Rolling
scones
Stones.
and throw a stone. Yeah, I don't know.
Eating scones.
Eating the Rolling Scones. That's a hilarious name for a British band. The,
The OJs, they were good. Is that the one where
uh,
they
uh,
all the time they want to take your place? The backstabbers.
I think the OJs
Backstabbers.
sing the Money song.
Oh, is that them?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's so
she
fun.
just said Kathleen said the OJs, the love for the love of money.
Yeah, that's it.
Who
Yeah, yeah.
will steal from their brother or from their mother.
I should have totally known that. It's so
But
funny.
no, but now I'm talking about the other one that's like money, money, money. Is that them too?
So they do it. Yeah, they do that, and I think there was a remix too. But yeah, the money, 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 money,
I
money.
gotta
I'm
hear
pretty sure.
that
Yeah.
song again.
So I wanted to sun gaze, and
You
so
said it again.
sun gaze, the word gaze. No, I know. I'm doing it on purpose.
I know.
No, I'm bringing it in. So I looked up the word gaze. Oh, did I already do this on the show?
I
I
don't
looked
think
up,
so.
I think I just did this. I looked up the word gaze and I was really, it really, you got to like think of giving your full attention when you're sun gazing. It's not just to look, like the word gaze has, and then, so I'm just going to go around along and talk about the word gaze for 5 minutes. And then I'm gonna be like, I just talked about gaze for 5 minutes and no one got uncomfortable. There's my pun for everybody. See? I don't care. Gay
Hmm.
people, I guess gay. That could be offensive gays. I don't know. When I was growing up, my uncle was gay, so I just thought it was a normal thing. I don't judge people. We don't judge people in the Oversharing show here. Anyway, that's my silly pun. And then somebody asked me the other day, they're like, "Have you been to Timbuktu?" And I was like, "Well, I've been to Timbuk also." But
Timbuk 3. That's the
Cody
only one I've
Lassie
been
at
to.
Timbuk 3. Yeah, what's up, Cody? No, Cody Bassett. I have not been active on Bear Target recently. I've been in like a huge cocoon, honestly. I still talk to some people that are bears and stuff like that, but I don't really. I haven't been. I'll be coming out of the cocoon though. Spring's here, so if you want to get together, Cody, let me know. Especially if you come down this way, or if I come to your way, we totally will go hiking. But yeah, we've been just oversharing, plugging away, talking about things like we don't even know what's going on at all. And that was the thing. That's one of the reasons why I stopped. I actually still follow Owen on Instagram because I get really good stuff. Like he had this whole thing about a narcissist's prayer or whatever it was called. But anyway, watching the show stuff though, because I didn't even know like the stock market crashed the other day or whatever. Like I don't know nothing that goes on, and it's been so much better for my life because I only know what goes on here. Like and
Yeah.
it's been amazing because we've been able to make it grow and stuff. So, you know, we've been oversharing, right? Yeah. Oh, the Hermetic tradition, symbols in the teaching of royal art. Oh yeah, we'll check it out. This one we've been covering, this book, The Alchemist, which we're going to get into soon. I promise everybody is an amazing story. So, yeah.
I don't think you've even read the
We know
quote
you're
yet today,
just
but go ahead.
MS says, and Brandon, you can make all the gaze jokes you want. We know you're just playing. That's right. Nobody ever gets mad at me. It's hard to get offended. That's why 2020 was so weird. Anyway, so let's not derail this. I have a quote. Were you going to say something though? I'm sorry.
No, I was just telling you not to forget about the quote.
Oh, thanks, Sharon. We're going to bring up the quote today before we overshare too much. So today's quote is from the Holy Bible. So we like to take our quotes from
Wow.
everywhere. This quote meant a lot to me, and I'm sure to Sharon as well, because we both have roots in Christianity, born again Christianity and stuff, although we wouldn't really probably identify as that. I mean, I would identify as like an esoteric Christian, like I'm on the path of Christ or whatever. But anywho, this psalm is very popular. And, I read it again the other day and it blew my mind because now that I have new eyes to see. So I'm just going to read it. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lay down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He lendeth me. Oh, sorry.
Leadeth.
He leadeth. Yeah, that
Oh, why
underline.
is it all underlined?
I don't know. Eh, When I copied it, it did that. He
Weird.
leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the
Well,
house of the
house of the
Lord
Lord
forever.
forever.
Yeah, I probably could have just said that without even reading it, honestly,
Well, I mean,
because
I
it's been so
over
long. I mean, I
have
know it though.
over time I've forgotten a little bit of it myself, but yeah,
Yeah,
I remember it here and there, pieces of it.
yeah, it's funny because I'm like, I don't remember lendeth. Like, is this the
Leadeth
is this the Jewish version? He lendeth. It's the no. I'm just kidding. Just
with
kidding, everybody. I don't even.
interest.
He lendeth me money with interest. He is a good God, but he needs to get his. All right,
Mm,
no, he needs his. You got to pay the vig. Only certain people know what I mean. The vig. All right, so yeah, this quote or this Bible verse anyway. I like it because we're talking about a shepherd in this story. If you're new to our show, welcome. Thank you so much. We've been covering The Alchemist, and we read through and give commentary, and it's about a shepherd who sells all his sheep because he has a dream about going to the pyramids to find his treasure. And several set of amazing circumstances ensue. But because he's a shepherd, that's why I wanted to bring this up. I just heard it, something I was listening to, an audiobook or whatever, a lecture, and they were talking about this because it was all about like Thomas A. Kempis and imitation of Christ. So I was listening to a lecture about it. They talked about this, and he was like, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want." And it blew me away because I was thinking of desires, right? Because I grew up with this born again Christian thing, and it meant something to me, and the Bible meant something, and then for whatever reasons, I lost my faith in that. I saw, not that the Bible or whatever, but just lost my faith in people, we'll say, right? The people that couldn't answer the questions. And then I went into I got into other stuff, Buddhism and Hinduism and all these things, and it was easier for me to see the metaphors there. And now that I come back, like I learned all about desires in Buddhism, and Hinduism. You learn about, if you read the Bhagavad Gita and stuff, Krishna talks about desires and all these different things and how they work on you and all this. But it's right here in the Bible too. I shall not want, right? The Lord is my shepherd. I don't need to have desires. I don't need to, or how did you put it when we were speaking earlier, Sharon?
Okay, so the word want, the way you said it is fine too. Like, I shall not want, like, I don't have to want anything. I don't have to desire anything. But I think like the old British meaning would be to have need of anything, which is similar. Um, when you want not, it means that you don't have any needs. All your needs are met. So, like, the Lord is my shepherd, he will meet all my needs. He will provide, basically, is what that line means.
Exactly. And now, when I was in school or when I was going to church, we would just read it. Nobody really, maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Maybe they didn't tell me, but I did. I was kind of like a Bible nerd when I was younger. So I would just, I guess, I think that I thought it was wrong to want things, maybe. I don't know. Trying to think of how my little fifth
Yeah.
grade Brandon or whatever, is trying to interpret this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look at it again. So yeah. And I like this too because this whole verse really is it's like don't fear. It's kind of like another way to say the litany against fear, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just it
Yes.
names all these ways that the Lord is taking care of you and has taken
Providing.
care of you. Just look
Mhm.
at your life, what you've been through. You're still here, if you're listening to this. You probably still have all your toes and fingers and legs and arms and everything like that. You might have been through some tough times, but we're still here, and the Lord has provided you with everything you needed, not maybe everything you wanted, but everything you needed to get here. That's why it says, I shall not want. I think so.
Yeah, Michal says, does that mean that technically there's no such thing as being homeless? I mean, birds live in trees or whatever, or wherever they build a nest. Yeah.
Spiritually, in the physical realm, I guess you could be homeless and not have a physical home, but you could look at it the way Sharon does too and just say, home is where your heart is, right? But spiritually, we always have a home, no matter what we're going through, what we feel. I feel like there's always a chance for us to turn around and be grateful for what's actually going on, to look at the omens, instead of feel like a victim. And I think that's really what it means because you might not feel like you're at home in this realm. You might feel like this realm isn't for you and you want to get out of here and escape this realm and all this stuff. But I feel like we're here for a reason. So if that's the case, then I think it's better to be grateful. I think I was going to say something else, but I lost it anyway.
You know that song, Just Be Grateful?
I think so.
That's funny.
Maybe.
I just opened to I was gonna open the
Oh,
card that I just got and I opened to the one after it.
nice.
Um, but yeah, was there anything else we wanted to say about this?
Um, Let me just scan it really quick. Uh, you know, Basically that just this is really talking about spiritual, really, because you're gonna be like, I needed that though, and I didn't get it, so the Lord, and that's why we feel like a victim. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but that when you feel like that, it's a good chance to be like, but am I really a victim? And then walk it backwards. What am I grateful for? Did I really need this or whatever it is? But sometimes it could be hard. Sometimes it could be a loved one could pass away, or it could be a really grave injury or something like that. And what I tell people is it's just really about acceptance. The quicker that you could accept whatever it is that happened, the better, or the quicker that you'll start to benefit or you'll reap the benefits, even if it's something negative. You could make the best of it, I guess. And it's easy for
Yeah.
me to say sitting right here with nothing going wrong right at this moment, but that's why we practice these things now. We talk about them so that when something happens, we're like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do this. And this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll turn it over to Sharon. But the other day, I forget what happened. Something happened, and it like didn't go. I was with my lovely wife. It didn't go our way, and I was just like, oh, whatever. What am I gonna do? It's no big deal. And I was like pointing out the positive things, and she's like, wow, you're so amazing. And I'm like, have you listened to my podcast recently? Which she doesn't a lot because she already hears me all the time say this. I'm like, this is what and I said to her, I'm like, I talk about this all the time on my podcast. So if I was gonna talk about it and then not live it, I'd be like some kind of asshole. So I'm just living it and it's working out. Of course I still get angry and, still feel like a victim plenty of times, but uh when I stop and have that space before I react or even after and I think about it, I could just kind of let it go and realize I'm not a victim. But yeah, so I'm doing it for you guys out there, the overshareite viewers and listeners.
Yeah. I mean, I too have, that's why we always say we preach to ourselves and the choir. Because we too have our moments. And yeah, my thing is I have to, first of all, I just have to allow myself to feel my feelings. Like if I'm sad or upset, just let myself, you know, give myself the grace to feel how I'm feeling because it's really okay to feel that. You're naturally human. You're here. So you're going to feel feelings and it's okay to allow them to pass through you and over you. um but also um I keep in mind that, and I try to tell myself sometimes maybe in those moments or maybe a little after, that maybe this happened for a reason. And I know that when I say maybe, I mean it really did happen for a reason. But it's kind of like a coaxing myself to get there. Like this, could it be this happened for a reason and it's going to be okay. It feels bad right now. It feels bleak. It feels sad. It feels whatever. Um, but, you know, it's like sometimes it's like when you sleep on it, you know, maybe tomorrow morning the sun will shine and things will be different, or, it'll be a different day, a brand new day to experience. So, again, we go through these things too. We're not gurus here that like, or saints here that don't experience these things.
In the future, they're calling us saints, everybody, just so you know. But we know don't worship us. We're already telling they're going to do it anyway. But now we're just normal, everyday Brandons and Sharons. I'm just an everyday Joe and Brandon and Sharon. Something you said. Did I lose my point with that? It'll come back to me. But that I think that's important to know that it's just an everyday thing, right? We're always kind of working on ourselves, and I don't know. It'll come back to me anyway. I had to get fancy and funny. Did you pull a card?
I did. You ready for it?
Let's do it.
It's funny because I saw this. I saw this recently. Yeah, a friend of mine sent me her reading and had me look at it, and this was one of the cards that got pulled for her. But
Ooh.
anyway, I just pulled it today. Here it is. The Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Discs, as some people might say. Now, he seems to be contemplating over his discs, pentacles. And this is like a very earthy thing, right?
I remember what I was going to say before too. It brought it
Say
back
it,
to me.
say it, say it.
When you're struggling with something, like you said, right? You go to sleep, see how you feel the next day. That's what made me think this. It reminds me of when I'm drawing. I'll be drawing something and I'm like trying to get something right or with pencils or color it or shade it just right. And I get so focused on it, hyper focused, and you might even say I get a little obsessed. I mean, and I just will go crazy, right? I'll just draw. And then I realize though, in writing is the same thing when I'm writing and stuff that I need to take a step back, put it away, and then when I come look at it with new eyes, it's totally different. Like I was working on a drawing and I thought I couldn't get something right or didn't look right, and I'm like, let me just walk away and come back, and I did, and I was like, oh, it looks so great because I feel like you just get hyper focused when you're working on something. And it's the same thing in your life. You're hyper focused on this one incident, this one thing, this one person, whatever it is, and you get like this OCD thing that we all get it. Like sometimes you want like whatever it is, and it's really what leads kind of people to escapism. It's that same feeling, or before you even know it, you're like, what's going on, right? I'm just obsessing, you just like sit there and you're on your phone, and before you know it, 20 minutes go by. You're like, what the hell, stuff like that. So what I would say is just like Sharon said, take a nap or whatever, meditate, go for a walk in the woods, whatever it is, leave it alone, let it out of your mind. Don't think about it. Don't give it any mental real estate, right? Don't let it take up any of your prime real estate in your head for a while and then come back to it and see what happens. That's another great point. I'm so glad you said that, Sharon, because it clicked in my head with art. And I don't think we've ever said anything like that exactly before, but that's so
Yeah, I
huge.
didn't you said it you took it further than I had thought to myself because I just talked about like letting it go through you, letting it pass through you, letting the feelings pass through you, and then, thinking about, sleeping on it type of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is a break. Sleeping on it is like taking a break.
They say sleeping is like the poor man's sadhana or whatever. It's almost like meditation in a way, you know.
Oh yeah.
And again, meditation is something that worked really well for me. Everybody kind of has their own different way to it, but I think for a lot of people in the society, it's good because it just gets you out of that monkey mind. What it really does is it allows me to, like, when I'm freaking out about something, I can just be like, oh, these are just thoughts, and I'm like, okay. That is such a gift, and you let it go, and sometimes they come right back, and you could just let them go again or whatever. It's like the process of letting go. So it's exactly like the process of letting go. You're just letting go of your thoughts, really.
Yeah,
And so
that's meditation. It's just letting go of the thoughts.
that's it. You're gonna have them. You can't stop them. So
Yeah. And it's okay if if you're like sitting there and you're like, I can't let go of the thoughts. That's okay too.
yeah, that's the best. I've heard a few people say that too, though. They're like, that's if you're having a tough meditation day or you're having a tough time with your spiritual work. We probably said this last week too. That's good. That means it's working. It means you care and you're trying and you want it to work. Because if you didn't care, you'd be apathetic, right? And you would just be like, whatever, who cares?
And that's okay too. Some people can do that for
That's right.
a while and
It's
however long they
all
want to do it.
okay. Could it
Everything's
be?
okay. Everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, everything is all right, right? And
Yeah.
all right, and what we
Everything
mean
is all
by
right and it's
right.
always going to be all right.
And it's funny because right, it just means the right way, and all that right is the correct way, which means it's how it's happening. Like that's what's happening out in the world.
Can you argue with God's plan?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's happening the way it's happening.
It is what it is, and that's
It's
all
all
it
perfect. God made everything perfect.
he did. All right.
Anyway,
Anyway,
we
go
were
ahead.
talking about the 7 of Pentacles. Do you
Yes.
have any comments on that?
Yes, that it goes along actually with what I was saying. So I was already kind of talking about it without anyone knowing, but in this spiritual journey, or whatever you want to call it, right? This you're working on yourself or waking up to what is really here, what really is going on, right? When you're waking up to this stuff, it's a journey, like we've said before, ups and downs, ups and downs. You're gonna feel like you know it all, and it's great, and you're gonna judge everybody, and then you're gonna be like, oh shit, judging people's hurting me too, and then you're gonna be like, boom, and you're gonna fall, and then you're gonna go up. So that's why we always say you might as well just stay even keeled because a lot of different Eastern religions talk about this. They're like, if you're going to be super excited and happy about something, that means that you also have to be super sad and down about something. And I'm not talking about feelings and things feeling bad, but I just mean if things go your way or they don't go your way, right? So some people, when things don't go their way, this is how I used to be. I'd be so mad, I'd be upset, throwing things, whatever, pissed off. And then when things went my way, I was so excited. I'm like, come on. Here's a great example.
Poker. Just kidding.
Yes, I was gonna say poker.
Really?
Yeah, because I used to play poker
Ah,
and I would just play and I'd want to win every hand I was in, right? I mean, I still want to win the hands, but if I didn't win, I'd be all upset. Or say if I was like ahead and I went all in and someone called and then they got their card on the river and they won, they hit their one out, whatever people that play poker know what I mean. Uh, I'd get mad and upset, right? And I'd be like, nah, and then it would affect my future play. But now I'm like, okay, I wasn't meant to win that hand. I still have some chips, like if I'm in a tournament or whatever. Let's see what we can do. Let's move around. It's sometimes when you lose a hand in poker, it's not a bad thing because people are watching you play and people aren't that smart. So you might be doing something and they see you do it and they're going to remember it. So next time they're going to pay you off, whatever. So these are the thoughts that I have anyway. That's why I'm saying that. These are the thoughts that I have when I'm playing now and I lose a hand or whatever. It's the same thing in life. So you could just be so excited and happy when things go your way and then very sad, or you could just try to remain even keeled. And it doesn't mean you can't ever feel joy or excitement or happiness again. It's just like an attachment thing, right? Are you attached to always getting your way? And if it doesn't, is everything going to crash down and crumble around you? It reminds me a lot of the Five of Cups, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about the Seven of Pentacles. So this one, though, is
And
go ahead.
go ahead. I was just going to quickly say the upright meanings for this card are growth and patience. But go ahead.
And that's exactly what you need on this spiritual journey. And I think that's kind of why they show it that way, because it's a seven, which is like a perfect number. And he's just taking a break. He's like resting and looking at what he's done. It's like what I talked about before when you create something or create art and you leave and you come back and look at it. He's viewing it and he's seeing the growth in the progress. This kind of also reminds me of a point in self work where you actually start to see tangible results. You could start meditating for a while and do these things and not really, some things happen, but then something happens and you get like a huge thing. You're like, oh, I don't even fucking care what my parents think about me anymore. Or like, I don't even fucking care what that dude, like these huge things that change a lot of behavior in your life. I think that's kind of what represents it also. He's just looking at the things he's done. And then also the earth, it could represent on that angle things in this
Attachments.
realm. Oh yeah, also attachments too, but things in this realm like your career and your work and your focus and
Mm-hmm.
your family, you've been working and building it. Now it's starting to yield fruit.
And money, 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 money.
Exactly.
Just
Boom, boom, boom.
kidding.
So yeah. Anywho, what else does it say about the
Let's see. Shall I read the little
yeah. Yeah,
bit?
this has been a fun episode so far. We started right on time, so
Yeah. We've been going for about 30-ish
yeah,
minutes. It
it's
says
cool
this
though.
card demands that you be patient while you take small steps to nurture your work. The Seven of Pentacles indicates that a project, idea, or relationship you've been nurturing is not yet fully formed. The man on this card is shown leaning on his garden tool, looking at his crop of pentacles. He's been working for a long time, carefully tending to its growth. By pausing to look at what he's accomplished, he sees that he has not reached his goal and he feels frustrated rather than proud of himself for how far he's managed to come. The pause is the motivation he needs to refocus and get back to work. He knows in his heart that staring at the beautiful pentacles won't make them grow any faster. So that's just pretty much what we just said. Take a pause, take a moment, and don't be hard on yourself because he's feeling frustrated rather than proud of himself when he could say, I've done the best that I could and everything's going to be okay.
Exactly. And it's funny because it really is all these religions, they really and belief systems and books like Dune and Return Star Wars that there's like this message overall that's like don't worry about it, right? Don't worry because this realm, if you don't worry, things just work out the way they're supposed to. And guess what? If you're gonna die, you were supposed to die anyway. And there's a gift, right? It's a gift. You don't get stuck in this, people want to live forever, but can you imagine living in this physical, finite body, but forever with the limitations that it has? You would probably go crazy. I think that's probably why, like, Fortune Saint Germain just walked into a mirror one day. He's like, I can't do it anymore. He's like, I've been alive for 500 years, and they saying we've been, and for 499 of them, they've been saying we were going to run out of oil, and we still haven't. I've been alive. Yeah, so I think it's a gift. I really do. And I feel like It doesn't mean you go kill yourself or whatever, but when it does happen, if you're conscious of it, like if you see it coming, man, just remember it's a gift. Here we go, Lord. Here I come. What am I gonna do? I tried my hardest, and this is where I am on a roller skate falling down a hill. No, I'm just kidding. Just trying to think of a funny way. Uh, it'd be like a death where like I got ran over by like a truck carrying a shark.
Reindeer. Just kidding.
No, no, it would be like a truck transporting a shark, and I would get hit by that truck. Like instead of getting eaten by a shark, it would be like a weird, like
Hmm.
they were flying they were rescuing this whale and they were flying it, and it fell and it landed. I was in the desert and I got killed by a whale coming out of the sky. Like it's gonna be some weird, like,
There was a fish fall in the desert.
yeah. Anyway, I'm planning out fake deaths for the future. Oh yeah, he got hit by a whale in the desert. I don't know what it was, a freak accident. SeaWorld was doing anyway. Yeah, so I like that message though. It's kind of like what we said, a little different specifically, I guess, than what I said, but close enough. It's like you're gonna yield fruits, but you gotta keep working. You gotta, the work is never done. You think you got there, but at a point, I feel like, you get to a certain point where it's not like work anymore. It's just like, all right,
Way, way, way.
yeah, you're going with the flow.
Hmm.
The tests, I feel like the tests are everywhere. We had a blue truck behind us the other day on our yesterday on our behind, this pickup truck, bright blue, like the blue of the chat, or like an electric blue. And I was like, look, I'm like, Krishna's behind us. I'm like, Krishna's behind us messing with us. He's just, and then as soon as I said that, the car turned and wasn't bothering us anymore. It was really cool. So, it's just Christian in disguise. So I feel like anytime you're gonna get your balls busted, it's just Loki or Krishna or whoever. They're just messing with you. They're just trying to get you off center. Just picture yourself like the Karate Kid. You're doing the crane. You're on top of a telephone pole, right? You're doing the crane with your one leg. You're balancing, and they're just throwing rocks at you. That's all they're doing, and they're not even real rocks. They're shooting you with squirt guns, really. It's not even a big deal, but you're just like afraid of the water. So you're like, whoa, and then you fall, and but you just sit there and it's just a squirt gun. It's like 100 out. Enjoy it. That's what I feel like life is. But again, we get tricked, and because of the way we grow up and the way we see things, and we get tricked into this physical. So those squirt gun shots feel like this guy just stole money from me. This dude just screwed me over. This lady just broke up with me. This person just died. Like,
It
these are the
all
things
belongs to God.
in the physical. Exactly. It's just God shooting with a squirt gun, just like, can you take this? Because listen, you got to be able to not fear, because what's coming, you got to be able to not fear through what's coming, whatever's coming. I mean, everyone talks about it, right? The end of the world or whatever. I feel like maybe
Spoiled.
there is some kind of event, a reset or whatever. And I feel like if you just don't fear it, you'll go through it like no problem, like a tube, like, or maybe you just get sucked up into the sky. I don't know, and I don't know when it's gonna happen. We're not like doom and gloom here or whatever. It could be at the end
I
of
don't know.
all our lifetimes, but like,
I
what if
feel
that's
like
what? Go ahead.
what's gonna happen? Like, there's always something. People are always like, oh, the end of the world is, I don't even believe in that anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in that way, you know what I mean?
Well, too, it could just be, yeah, I hear what you're saying. It could just be all uh allegory for our own death,
I, yeah.
because everybody dies, and when people are ego centered, the whole world is them, right? So the world's gonna end. But there also could be resets and different things that happen that we have to live through. But it could just be as simple as our own death. Hey, maybe there are resets, but maybe also when you die, if you just have no fear, you just go to the next thing, or maybe come back here to help people, like whatever it is. I think if you get attached to it, that's why I don't look too much into past lives. I love that idea, and I think you could do really good work there. But for me, I feel like I would get attached myself. I'd be like, I was a cowboy or whatever. I have enough problems trying to figure out what's going on
I was
today.
Hermes Trismegistus.
I
I don't
was
know why that
Jesus
just came
Christ.
to my head.
Yeah.
I was Thoth. I was Saint Germain. I was gonna say fortune.
I was
No, but
thrice great, not thrice, thrice. Four times great. What's up, Stacey Sunshine? How's it going?
she was Cleopatra and Queen Esther. That's
Yeah, there you
awesome.
go. I don't know. I was gonna say someone Nebuchadnezzar. That's who I was. I was
Oh,
gonna
there
try to
you
think of
go.
a
There you
bad
go.
guy. I couldn't even. Yeah, so basically no fear, guys. Just don't have fear. And again, if you're not getting it or whatever, when it comes to this stuff, it's okay. Like, I think that's our biggest message. Whatever, it's okay. Just be easier on yourself and fucking take it easier on yourself. Because you probably, whoever's listening to this, you've probably been beating yourself up like a slave for your whole life internally because of every little freaking mistake you've made. In public, you probably, when you're with people, you might have said something and you like relived it 100 times. Like, I can't believe I said that. I used to do that. And now I just say things and I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm like, what did I even say? Like, I was talking to Dwayne and I was like, I love you. And I hung up and I was like,
Why did I say that?
I mean, I
He
do love the
needed to
guy,
hear
but I'm just,
he needed to hear it.
yeah, he needed to hear a shout out to my boy Dwayne. So yeah, it was
Lights, camera, action.
DJs. Yeah, lights, camera, action. Lightscameradjs.com if you need a DJ for your wedding, or whatever event. Uh, yeah, so don't fear. I think that's what I was saying, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
be easy on yourself. Be easy. That's what it is. Just chill, you know? If you do something wrong, be like, fuck it. Fuck it. And then be like, wait a minute, what could have happened because I did this wrong? You know, like there's so many things. We just get, like I said earlier, we get so laser focused on what's
caught up.
going on in front of us or our problem in our head or whatever. We don't see the big picture, you know, like the birds are outside chirping right now. God
For
ain't
what?
clothing them, is he? All right.
Yeah, God clothes them. That's right.
All right, we brought it full
And
circle.
the wildflowers like Stacy Sunshine.
Yeah, and you're
So
alive, man. You know, like think about it. So many people aren't alive anymore. So, and again, now that's it, a bad thing, but you're here in this realm, live, conscious, ha make the best of it. Have a good time. All
yeah.
right.
So we've really, really overshared this
Yeah,
before reading the book.
it's okay. I think it'll make this go faster because we could just keep referring. We'll be like, remember what we said in the beginning? Do that. Just go. All right,
That makes sense.
are you ready?
Sure. Do
All
you
right.
want to start reading or do you want me to?
Oh, I could start reading. I'm just gonna
Okay.
see where should we start from? Here we go. Yeah, this is where it is. Okay. So we left off where the Englishman and the shepherd boy realized that they can learn something from each other. The Englishman was too book focused and he realized he was not paying attention to the world around him. And the shepherd realized he wasn't focused on anything like that. He was too hyper focused on what was going on around him and it wasn't, getting any knowledge or whatever, I guess you could say, like from the alchemy books. All right. Let me just. Okay, we're gonna start right here, everybody. They were strange books. They spoke about Mercury, salt, dragons, and kings, and he didn't understand any of it. But there was one idea that seemed to repeat itself throughout all of the books. All things are the manifestation of one thing only. In one of the books, he learned that the most important text in the literature of alchemy, contained only a few lines and had been inscribed on the surface of an emerald. And really quickly, I just want to say this thing,
Was
right?
that
He
the
goes,
emerald tablets? Is he referring to from Thoth,
from
Hermes Tris
Thoth Dog,
Magistus?
Thoth Dog a Dog. I just want to say, where was in one of the books he learned? Yes, okay. Right here. All
All
right.
things are the
But there was one idea
manifestation.
that
Oh,
seemed to repeat itself throughout the book, right? Yes, all things are the manifestation of one thing only. Now, this is something that we've been just talking about for 45 minutes, and this really is the essence of don't fear. I must not fear. Why? Because all things are one. And that thing that's coming over here that hang on, I'm really, I'm so bad. That thing that I see that's coming over to kill me, that threat that I'm perceiving, It's me too. It's still connected to me. Like air is a medium. We're all connected. We're all energy, everybody. We're just having this dance. So it doesn't mean, I mean, you could do whatever you want with your life. You can act like you're crazy and you could go around and act like a nut. But what I'm saying is just remember that, keep it in your mind so you don't have to feel like a victim. And when that moment of death does come, you're not freaking out. You're just like, all right, here we go, Lord. I guess this is it. I lived a good life. Let's go. And yeah. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to bring it back to. It's like the same message. You must not fear. We are all one. All right.
Yes, indeed.
And the emerald tablets, of course. It's the emerald tablet, said the Englishman, proud that he might teach something to the boy. And there we go. There's the pride, right? He's all excited about it. Uh, well then, why do we need all of these books? The boy asked. And I get
Ooh,
it. I'm
can
not
I
gonna.
pause there? Oh my God, what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, you know what? Read that next line, and then I want to comment.
All right. Good call. I'll just do it all over again. It's the emerald tablet, said the Englishman, proud that he might teach something to the boy. Well then, why do we need all these books? The boy asked. So that we can understand those few lines, the Englishman answered, without appearing really to believe what he had said. Is that it or more?
No, that's good.
Okay.
So it makes me think of the very first line of the Tao. You can't express the Tao in just words. Like it's ineffable. You can write all the books you want, you can speak all the lectures you want, you can speak all the words, sentences, paragraphs, hours of lectures, and you still can't express the Tao, which is God, life, the universe, everything, right? What the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy wants to know. They're like, can you tell us? And he's like, maybe. And then he's like, let me think about it. 42. And then
Ah,
they're like, wait, why 42? And then he's like, I'm going to need another computer to tell you the question of the answer that is 42. And it's basically, the 42 was those first few lines, right? The little few lines that were written on the emerald tablet. And then the actual rest of it, that is all that other stuff, is like all the books that talk about it. It's like the commentary of the few lines, basically.
and could it be that the emerald tablet is just our soul? Like they say it's etched in your soul. It's just a few lines. Like you either get it or you don't get it. And it's fine if you don't. It's like those paintings from Mallrats where that dude was standing there staring at it and he couldn't see a sailboat. And everyone's like, it's a sailboat. And some kid's like, it's a schooner. And he's like, you idiot. It's not a schooner. It's a sailboat. And he's like, a schooner is a sailboat, stupid head. Anyway, he just could never see it. And it's the same thing, right? Think about that. It's one of those crazy paintings. What are they called, Sharon? Do you know?
I don't. I was totally just, are they the ones where you like you like cross your
Yeah.
eyes and you kind of blur them out to see them? I was just talking about that to a friend today. That's
Yes.
insane that you brought it up.
In the movie Mallrats, there's this reoccurring character they keep cutting to that is just this dude staring at it and he can't get it, right? Everyone else keeps coming up. So that's what it's like, right? People will just say the oversharing show. We were looking at this picture and we see exactly what's there. We crossed our eyes, whatever we had to do, and we could see it. And then other people in religions, they have these pictures and they put them on their wall and they're praising them. But they don't see what the picture is. It's just a blur to them, but they put it like on their necklace and they praise it and it's a blur and they say, thank you, blur. We love the blur. You're not talking about my blur. I'll fucking kill you, right? But then people like us would look at it and we're like, oh, it's just, be
The
easy on
same, it's an
yourself.
expression of the same thing. It's just, it looks a little different.
It looks a little different. And so to people who haven't quite woke up spiritually, I guess you could say, or whatever, don't get it, they have this picture and they're worshiping it. It's this blurry picture and they don't know. They're just doing it because it's been passed down to them by other people who would see it and got it and knew, but something maybe happened, or who knows, maybe one of the some people were die, who knows. But that's kind of how it feels to me, right? It's like you don't even know what you're worshiping. But it's cool though, because that message is contained in there. And at any moment, those people can go, whoa, I see it too. And they could just be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm so silly. I was so worried about going to hell and burning for eternity. Why would a loving God ever do that to somebody for making silly mistakes when there's no clear instructions? Like if it was clearly written out, not by a man, because you know how you can never really trust, Roman emperors. You can't really trust a Roman
King
emperor.
James,
You can't really trust a British king.
even though we did quote from the King James.
Yeah, well, that's because we have that picture and we're crossing our eyes when we look at that. We're not
That's
like,
true, true.
we're not like, the Lord literally is my shepherd, like, I mean, maybe, but yeah, and that's all. And again, nothing wrong because the message gets passed to people and it is a lot of people, it keeps them moral. It's like the morality that they need. But like it says in the Tao, like morality is really only around when people need it, like when people know that you don't need any laws because people are just fucking chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
so that's why we should not watch the news. Anyway.
I've been listening to here and there stuff about Manly P. Hall and some of the lectures he did and stuff. And um I can't remember, it might have been from one called multiple lectures that were put together as an audiobook, as a book, um, called The History of I forgot what it's called. I'll look it up and you guys know, but he was talking about the Native Americans and the League of Nations, how the League of Nations actually started with the Native American. It was 5 Native American tribes, I think, that
Whoa.
came together to, and they were very. It was like, what do you call it when they're honest, they're integrous.
Are
They're
you talking about the Iroquois Articles of
yes, yes,
Confederation? Yeah, that's what
yes,
the
whatever.
Constitution's based on that
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And he was talking about that and how it was how all that was based on the Native American stuff. Um,
These savages that were running around in loincloths. Yeah, we based our government on theirs. Yeah, okay, so I don't
yeah, some of them,
guys, they
right?
weren't savages running around. I mean, they might have
Yeah,
been, but yeah, it's like no, it was a civilization was here, maybe. It could be. Anyway,
yeah, yeah. And they were honorable and they honored their word. Their word meant like what they said, and they wouldn't go back on it. And they, if they tried to make a treaty with another nation or another area or whatever, they would do their best to honor it. But if they felt like the other side had not honored it, then they would, of course, defend themselves as best they could. But, um, if they tried to if they were attacked or whatever. But the thing was that whole League of Nation, I don't know, I forgot what it's called, the Iroquois League or whatever, of those,
Articles of Confederation
the 5 of them. I can't remember what it
or the
was
nation. Yeah,
called,
they had
but
I forgot. It
um,
was the League. Yeah, League of Nations. I think it was, or so. I can't remember,
yeah,
but
I think it was something like that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what eventually was the basis for the League of Nations. Of course, that did not work out very well, allegedly. But yeah, what you were saying reminded me of that. I can't even remember what you said. Sorry.
No, it's cool. And to be clear, everybody, I love Native Americans. I don't, obviously some natives were the way they were, but I feel like there were cities and nations here, and they were in South America. You know, we have no problem with Chichen Itza or Machu Picchu. Anyway, um, yeah, it's great. And I feel like we're all this, like everybody here is descended from them in some way. Like it's that we all have that blood. Like, I mean, unless you just moved here from Japan or something yesterday, like. Maybe even then you probably do. All right, so and
Yeah,
like
well,
not that I even care about things like that.
you don't know where it's like there was the Bering Strait or whatever, and like
Yeah.
people
Oh yeah.
crossed
Well, yeah, they totally could have been
over
too.
and
Yeah.
stuff. So, it could be.
Yeah, I feel like we all are, it's
I mean, like I've said before, whenever I see pictures of like Mongolians and then I see pictures of
like
like
Ecuadorians or like
yes, or like
Peruvians.
Peruvians, I'm like they look alike. I think there's a reason why.
Are you racist, Sharon? No, I'm just kidding. Like, you're like, no, I look like that too. No.
No, I have probably have roots in
Yeah,
that
that's what
too
I'm
somewhere.
saying. I
So
know.
yes, I am Asian. I'm just kidding.
All right. Let's
Ah,
actually, I guess, get into reading this. We're having a very entertaining episode today, though. This is great. It's like meditation, right? So sometimes we read more and sometimes we
don't.
chat with you guys. It's cool. All right. It's funny because certain set of circumstances, Sharon and I had planned to go live today anyway, but we were gonna also meet about something. But then I had a job come up, so I did that this morning. I did some work. So I feel like because we didn't meet, now the episode came out more chatty. So maybe that's why it happened. Like we were supposed to
Yeah.
talk about these things because people, I guess it's been crazy out there in the real world. So the real world.
Yeah, it's been very weird. Lots of weird stuff happening.
Yeah, so we're a haven. You're gonna come here, and the most current event thing we're gonna talk about is maybe like, when we went hiking the other day or something. Like
Not New Haven. Just kidding.
New hey, yeah, maybe New Haven. All right,
That's over by you, right?
yeah. Well,
Did
not me now,
did
but
you
where I
I
grew
mean
up.
where you used to live?
Yeah, it's only about well maybe an hour from here. Not
Where's Yale again? I forget.
New Haven,
Okay.
Yale, New Haven Hospital is from there too. Yale.
Mm.
I'm actually I probably shouldn't talk about my work anyway.
Yeah.
I have TJ'd a wedding though in because they have all kinds of buildings there. It was this old building that was like the President's Club or something or whatever. But they had a wedding there. But there was a picture of Taft, I think, because he went to Yale on the wall. So I was DJing with Taft behind me. It was funny.
President Taft.
It was like a huge, like a giant. He was a big man too. And maybe it was Taft.
Bust?
No, it was just a painting of him,
Statue?
a
Oh,
painting. But it was
painting.
like the whole, like it was giant. They commissioned a bunch of painters. Okay. All right. So we are
Presidential.
talking about the Alchemist today, everybody. We promise. Okay, so well, then why do we need all these books? The boy asked so that we can understand those few lines. Yeah, and of course the Englishman answers without appearing to really believe what he had said. So, he's this Englishman wants to be an alchemist. He's trying so hard. He's knocking on the door, and it's cool that the universe or whatever sent him this boy who has had contact with like a real alchemist. It's interesting how this works. The book that most interested the boy told the stories of the famous alchemists. They were men who had dedicated their entire lives to the purification of metals in their laboratories. They believed that if a metal were heated for many years, it would free itself of all its individual properties, and what was left would be the soul of the world. This soul of the world allowed them to understand anything on the face of the earth. Because it was the language with which all things communicated, they called that discovery the master work. It was part liquid and part solid. Can't you just observe men and omens in order to understand the language? The boy asked. You silly boy. Sorry. The English, ah, ha, ha, ha. Anyway,
That
you have
would
a
be
mania.
me. That
Huh?
would be the boy asking this question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We totally would all be the boy on this show. Yeah.
And this
That's what.
Englishman would ask me this.
Yeah, we would be like, ha ha ha, or not. The Englishmen would say that to us, ha ha ha, you silly over Sharonites. We were
We'd
in the
be like,
land. You have a mania for simplifying everything, answered the Englishman, irritated. And it's funny because he's irritated. Why is he irritated though? Because probably it's true. And what is the truth? The truth could be irritating and scary and annoying and
and it can be very simple as well.
yes. Alchemy is a serious discipline. Every step has to be followed exactly as it was followed by the masters.
It's
Uh,
religion, it's tradition, it's the way we've always done it.
yeah. So I want to take a pause here because this is great. Because there are two ways in the Englishman. We don't really know, no spoiler alerts, but we don't get to see what happens totally with the Englishman unless something happens in the last 10 minutes. Because I still haven't read the end. But anyway, uh, what was I saying? I'm so funny. Uh, yes, here it is right here. Followed exactly by the Masters. It blew my mind because he's on the right hand path, I guess you could say, and the boy's more on the left hand path. And you're getting this like meeting of them, right, and left hand path, right? And it's like a a fight kind of. But the boy, it's interesting because the boy is interested in the right hand stuff. He's like, okay, so he's willing to walk in the middle, right? But this guy, the Englishman, he is into omens and stuff like that, but he seems to want to interpret all that stuff through the lens of his books, right? So not that it's a bad thing, but if you see an
He's too
omen,
book smart. He hasn't learned to be street smart.
exactly, and this is where it's coming out, and the way we can apply it kind of in our lives is to what was I gonna say? He to be more open, I guess, to either side really, and
To be
it'll come back to me.
balanced.
That's all right. But yeah, it's interesting to see the dynamic between the right and left hand path. And I know like Ram Dass and some people talk about the middle way. And that's sort of what we do here. You could say we're more left hand path, but we do like these religious writings and texts and the Bible and all these things. And that is all right hand stuff. Probably confusing my right and left. But anyway, so that's kind of why we walk more the middle way. But that's what I was going to say with the omens. Thank you, Brandon. You could see, say you're in the woods and you see an owl and you're like, oh, let me look it up. What does it say? And what's it mean? And you could read all these things, and that's great. And once you get going, but once you get to a point, you could still look it up, but you don't really need to. You could just say, what's going on in my life? What does an owl represent to what's going on in my life? And you start to read the omens for yourself. That's what I was saying. And that's kind of the difference between, I think, the Englishman and the boy here. Like you said, he's a little too book smart. He wants the titles and the degrees, right? And
I'm an Englishman in New York.
I'm an Englishman in
Whoa, I'm
Africa.
an alien. I'm a legal alien. Sorry.
I met with
Had to,
some people the other day,
yeah.
and they were like, they didn't really want any country music. They're like, if it's something that's like mainstream, but like, we don't want, country music.
Sting
And
is not country music.
no, I know. That you're gonna like this joke though, or damn it. So this is real though. They were like, we don't, but and we have an uncle that might ask for it or something. And I'm like, all right, if they ask for country music, I'm like, I'll just play Africa by Toto
Yeah.
because it's a country. Africa's a country.
That's
Oh, you
silly.
meant country western music. I'm sorry, you said country, and Africa's a country, so I played a song about a.
That's funny.
All
That's
right.
a good song though.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun,
Toto's
dun,
good.
dun. Yeah, and then Weezer redid it. I still like the Toto version better though. Everybody got all
Oh,
excited.
that's funny. I don't know if I've heard the Weezer version.
It sounds like almost exactly the same though.
Oh,
That's
how
why it's
weird.
like just do something different. There's a
Yeah.
couple points, but anyway, whatever. I'm not Weezer. What am I doing? I'm over Sharon. All right, back to over Sharon. So, the boy learned that the liquid part of the master's work was called the elixir of life, and that it cured all illnesses. It also kept the alchemist from growing old. All the
Mm.
solid part was called the philosopher's. Oh, and the solid part was called the philosopher's stone. It's not easy to find the philosopher's stone, said the Englishman. The alchemists spent years in their laboratories observing the fire that purified the metals. They spent so much time they spent so much time close to the fire that gradually they gave up the vanities of the world. They discovered that purification of metals had led to a purification of themselves. So we could kind
Fire
of,
gazing.
yeah, fire gaze. I really wanna. Oh man. So you're so funny. You make me laugh, and then I forgot what I'm gonna say. I'm not saying it to complain. I love laughing, so it's worth it. Oh yeah, I know what I wanted to say. It's not a big deal.
Fire heteros. Just kidding.
Um, it's puns, everybody. It's what it is. We're dangerous puns. We're experimenting with offensive puns. Anyway, we got
Allegedly.
MS's stamp of approval, guys. So what I was gonna say though, so you guys probably already get it, but people that don't, you're probably not watching this still. You probably turned it off because it was boring. But no, you guys understand, I think, what they're talking about with the metals and, getting to a point where you're aligning with the spirit of the world, like they said earlier. I feel it sounds a lot like Edgar Casey when he talked about accessing the Akashic records or Akashic or however you say it, when he would go into this sleep and trance and he would go to like this librarian and there was just all these records.
That's
I think
crazy.
people use whatever analogy or whatever works for them, but I feel like and
Yes.
people have described this in meditation too. And you hear stories about, if you listen to Ram Dass, you hear all these crazy stories about people and like Ram Dass's guru knew things about him and all this stuff like in the 60s or whatever before the internet. He knew about his mom, how he died, how she died. So I feel like you can access this realm where you kind of are part of everything. And I'm not saying though that that's the goal of this whole incarnation, right? I think that's sometimes where people get lost. They think that you just got to get to samadhi and exist in samadhi, but that feels like escapism to me. It's like I just want
Yeah.
to.
When you
But
choose one
how's your
over the
relationship
other.
with did you talk to your parents recently? And again, there's nothing wrong with having one of these experiences. Like I felt like I was going to have one the other day, but I think that's what took me out of it. When you meditate, it's great to do all these things, but I feel like if you think that's the goal and to then stay like that for the rest of your life, like, Zamana, and you're going to be a realized being like Jesus or like Maharaji or something, maybe that's the goal, but how's your relationship with with your parents, like or whatever? Because I don't think you're going to be one of those people. And again, I'm not saying by any means that I'm one of these people, but it's going to be realized rare. But I feel like when I first started meditating, I thought that was the goal. I'm like, I'm going to get there and I'm going to be like enlightened and sit on a hill. You could still do that, but remember, you got to go back into town to get groceries. And when you're there, you better be nice to people.
You're going to interact with people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the way he talks about the soul of the world, it also kind of, even though it's not probably the same way, but it reminds me of when Don Miguel Ruiz, the one who wrote the Four Agreements and all
Oh
the
yeah.
Toltec wisdom books, he talks about the dream of the world or something like that. Kind of makes me think of that.
Yeah, it's
It's
very
probably
similar.
not exactly the same, but
I feel like the dream of this world is like this realm itself because everybody is having a dream and we're having a shared, I can't explain it, right? Because if it's not physical, it's got to be some kind of shared experience. And then that thing that, oh, maybe this is a good time to bring up dualism and duality. Sharon sent this thing to me that blew my mind where
dude,
I've
and
heard
that's the
about
way he describes it, right? So go ahead.
So I've heard about dualism and duality and all these things, and really it breaks down to duality is so technically all things are one. Like if you look at a microscope and you see everything's energy, and if everything's energy, everything's connected because everything's conductive. Think of like a butter knife and a toaster, right? It's all electricity. So we're all that. So we're all one, but we can't see that. Right now I'm seeing Sharon through a screen. I'm chatting to people. I'm thinking about things I have to do with other people. So on some level, that is like a
Duality.
yeah, but on some level, us thinking, thank you for bringing that back though, because I was probably going to go on a different tangent. On some level, that knowing that there's a Sharon or an Elizabeth or a Kathleen or MS, that's duality because technically we're all one. But from our limited perception and point of view,
Here
we
in
see
this 3D,
3D
experience that we're
physical
having.
realm, we see other people. So that's duality. And there's nothing wrong with it. We need, like the guy was saying, I got this all from you need duality to function everyday life, right? You need to whatever you have to do, you have to say, I have to eat this apple. You can't be like, me and the apple are one, whatever. Or maybe you could. I don't know. But right now, as far as we know, so that's duality. It's fine. But what he said, the difference between duality and dualism is when anybody gets attached to one
Ism,
thing,
just think of the word ism. It's like
is
a
ism.
religion,
Yeah.
right?
So whenever you get attached to something out
It's
there that's you, but you forgot it's you, and you're attached to it, dualism.
well, and more than that, think of it in such a way that it's like when you attach some level of like label to it, like, oh, that was good, and but not that, that was bad. Like this was bad and this was good. And so, do this or don't do this because XYZ. That's the ism part. That's the dualism.
When you have a preference, right?
Yeah. When you're labeling and judging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say it goes back to what we were saying earlier in the episode. We did it where you want to try to remain, the sage remains the same in good times and bad. Like inside, you're just like, this is great, like, oh, and then when something bad happens, you could be like, man, this is crazy right now, right? I can't believe that, whoa. And then when good stuff's happening, like, wow, isn't life crazy how good it could get sometimes? So you're always like this chill person, whatever. And then you don't have these crazy ups and downs so much. And again, like we said, it's fine to feel all the joy and all the love and all the sadness and all the anger. It's all feel them, let them go, let them through you. Just don't get attached to them. Just don't say that's me. I'm this angry man. Are you though? Who is this angry man? Aren't you just God at the end of the day? Because if we're all one, then maybe all this together is God. Like the rocks outside and the moon, and Sharon's earring in my ring. You know, it, maybe all that together is what makes God. And then from this limited point of view, maybe we're God looking in a rearview mirror and we see all this and we believe it. Anyway, it's been said so many times before, and I'm just kind of talking to people who are looking at that picture real hard and trying to see it. Like, all right.
Yeah. And the guy who talked about that dualism and duality stuff was this guy named Jan Kershot or Kershit or something. I think what is that country that's called Holland but has another name? I think he's from there, but I'm not sure.
The
Anyway,
Dutch.
yeah, yeah. I think he's Dutch, but I'm not sure. But he wrote several books, and I was reading one of them, and I wanted to kind of get an idea for what he was talking about by like seeing his face and like reading a little bit about him. And I found a video on YouTube where he was answering questions about the same topic. So I watched that, and that's the video I sent Brandon. I can I can link it in the chat
And
for
yes,
sure.
Katrina. Oh, Netherlands. There you go. Yes, Katrina. It was mind-blowing. She says duality versus dualism. That's a great way of separating them, distinguishing them. Yeah, that's what blew my mind because I would always hear them and I had an idea of what duality and dualism was, and I didn't realize the exact distinction. It's like one of those words that you think you know, but you don't quite. Auspicious, right? Like I know what that means now, but it's one of those.
Yep. I
And
put the
there's the
link
link.
there, and I will also share it in our Telegram chat.
Yeah. Netherlands. All right. Let's see how much more of this we can read. Share on. The boy thought about the crystal merchant. He had said that it was a good thing for the boy to clean the crystal pieces so that he could free himself from negative thoughts. The boy was becoming more and more convinced that alchemy could be learned in one's daily life. Yeah, he's starting to get that picture. He's starting to see it. Also, said the Englishman, the philosopher's stone has a fascinating property. A small sliver of the stone can transform large quantities of metal into gold. Having heard that, the boy became even more interested in alchemy. It's like a draw to the physical, right? They're drawing you to the physical desires with gold.
Yeah.
He thought that, with some patience, he'd be able to transform everything into gold. Aha. He read the lives of the various people who had succeeded in doing so. Helvidius, Elias, Falconelli, and Gerber.
Geber?
Geber.
I
Gerber,
don't know.
maybe? Oh, yeah, Geber. You're right. There's no R there.
It's not the baby
Geber.
food. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
or the knife. It's so funny. You could get a Gerber knife or Gerber baby food. All right. They
That's
were
hilarious.
fascinating. Yeah. They were fascinating stories. Each of them lived out his personal legend to the end. They traveled, spoke with wise men, performed miracles for the
Incredulous.
incredulous, yeah, and owned the philosopher's stone and the elixir of life. But when the boy wanted to learn how to achieve the master work, he became completely lost. There were just drawings, coded instructions, and obscure texts.
That's me. I'm like, just give me the freaking big picture here. Okay.
Ah, right.
All these little coded instructions are driving me crazy. I don't know.
You want to read for a
Um,
little bit?
I can. I was just gonna say, what do you think at this moment, like what the spiritually, what the elixir of life and this philosopher's stone stand for?
Great question. And I was thinking of, like you were saying, or like it said earlier in the text, I think the elixir of life is,
It like makes you, it can like sustain you and keep you like youthful and stuff, right?
yeah, I feel like it's another attitude. It's another way to order your inner self so you're not looking like a victim in a way. But I think it has to do more with emotions, maybe because it's the elixir of life. So maybe water, maybe this has to do with a proper alignment and balance of your emotions and
Yeah,
relationship could be maybe.
because they have, people have found in science and whatnot, in medicine and science, whatever. If you're not like super scientific, sorry, that your emotions and your um let's just say emotions, right? Your emotions and your feelings, they contribute to, was it you telling me this that Eknath Eshwaran was saying that the body um
Thank
treats
you so much. Yes.
can you talk about that? Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Basically, what he's saying is that the Lord makes it hard for us to be angry and to be fearful because when we're angry or sad or fearful, we feel bad inside. And he's like, so what you can do is the way you look at it is, hey, the Lord doesn't want us to be angry, sad, fearful, and despair. So he makes it hard for us to feel that way. So therefore, if you're feeling that way, it's a choice at the end of the day somewhere. It's some kind of choice that you're making to look at it that way instead of looking at the abundance, like Bashar says, right? There's all kinds of abundance. It's not just money. There's forms of abundance everywhere. Right now, we have an abundance of uh what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. We have an abundance, Sharon and I, because we have you guys watching. We have this ability to do this. We have all the knowledge and the resources available to us. We have an abundance because we have a copy of The Alchemist we can read. There's so many things to look at.
There was something I wanted to say about what I took from the Eknath Eshwaran lecture
Oh
that
yeah,
you
that's
that you
right. I
shared with
was
me. It
I was
was
going on
about
to.
like when you take on emotions or feelings and they're like sitting in you and you haven't processed them, they're in your organs and they cause, you know, dis-ease, right? So someone who is holding anger, let's say, that think that's related to the liver, right? Is, let's say someone is medically diagnosed as liver failure. Okay, let's just say that, right? So And you can say, oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for them. That must be terrible. That must be horrible what they're going through, right? You'd feel sorry for them. Eknath Ashwarn was saying that you should feel just as sorry for the person who is angry, who has no ability to control that anger because it comes from the same place. Now, he didn't use the example I just did, but um, I think anger comes from the liver. So, like if you're an angry person or something, it is associated with that. So, that's what it made me think of. Sorry.
Yes, yes. No, 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 don't be sorry. You're right. He was saying like if somebody has a cold, you're not going to get mad at them or you're not going to judge them. Well, maybe. But that's what he's saying. It's the same kind of thing. And then also he said that he makes it uncomfortable, but he said if you love and be healthy. He's like be angry and be sick, forgive and be beautiful, or be resentful and be ugly. He's like your appearance in this physical realm is could it be that he's saying that it's affected by your point of view, really, your thoughts, what's going on. And
Yeah.
I
And
think
that's why it made me think of the elixir of life because it keeps you youthful.
exactly. And it's funny how it all comes together. I'm listening to this thing and I send Sharon an excerpt in a video and she's, it's like, and it falls right in with this. It's the elixir of life. It's perfect. And then the Philosopher's Stone, I guess, would be more what is
Transmuting
like
lead to gold
what does stone
spiritually.
represent, right? Like a pinnacle, maybe something in the physical, perhaps though, but maybe it's about keeping your physical life in, or maybe your family, career, all that kind of stuff balanced. I'm trying to think,
Well,
something like that.
I'm thinking like spiritually, what transmutes whatever this lead is, right? It could be the lower chakras. It could be things that are weighty. Lead is very weighty. Uh,
Behavior. Maybe the Philosopher's Stone transforms behavior because you could look at lead as your behavior when you're, you know, whatever, and not when you're not awoke, when you're not
when you're
awake,
in
and
your
you're
lower chakras.
when you're still asleep, right? When you're still asleep, just running around the physical, you think the physical is all there is. That's your behavior is the lead, and then the spiritual awakening is the Philosopher's Stone, whatever, that understanding, I guess, is what you can even call the Philosopher's Stone. That's what transmutes your behavior into gold. So in the analogy, the lead in the gold would be the behavior, and the Philosopher's Stone itself would just be your, I guess, point of view.
Could it be? We're
Yeah.
just making conjectures here. We're
Could it
just
be?
spitballing.
I haven't figured out how to turn lead into gold, but I have figured out how to turn cotton and useless money into gold. Like money, fiat money. Anyway, all right.
Fiat.
Fiat.
So you've learned how to turn fiat into gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah,
I haven't turned lead into gold yet, but
the fiata.
and interesting because lead is at least something. Fiat currency is just a representation of something. So, anyhow,
I mean,
uh, I turned a concept into something real. Look at me, I'm an alchemist. So, all right. Oh yeah, that's right. You were gonna read, unless you still had more to say.
no, I'm good. Thank you. Oh, was I supposed to read next?
Oh yeah, that's what I said. I'm sorry. You're
Oh,
if you want to
is
read.
that after the three little diamond things?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, yes, that's right. The obscure texts. That would be me. Why do they make things so complicated? He asked the Englishman one night. That would be me too. The boy had noticed that the Englishman was irritable and missed his books,
Haha.
so that those who have the responsibility for understanding can understand, he said. Imagine if everyone went around transforming lead into gold. Gold would lose its value. It's only those who are persistent and willing to study things deeply who achieve the master work. That's why I'm here in the middle of the desert. I'm seeking a true alchemist who will help me to decipher the codes.
Ooh. Hang on, I'll wait till the dialogue's over, then
Okay.
I'll go ahead.
When were these books written? The boy asked. Many centuries ago. They didn't have the printing press in those days? The boy argued. There was no way for everybody to know about alchemy. Why did they use such strange language with so many drawings? Drawings.
Drawings. Well,
What I
so
was thinking. Go ahead.
my drawings. It's funny. I was just gonna say, the whole part here where he's like, it's only the persistent and those willing to learn that will learn this. That's what it's like. The persistent ones. And you can look at that persistence as meditation, even. That's one of the things. You have to be so persistent to learn how and to want to meditate and to focus and do it. And again, I'm not saying it's the only way, whatever, but you have to be persistent, knock on the door, and you got to want to really know the knowledge, want the wisdom. That's it, the wisdom. So I think that's what he's saying, even though he's talking about turning lead into gold and, but I feel like he doesn't even realize he's speaking allegory here. It's funny. All right.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
The Englishman didn't answer him directly. He said that for the past few days, he had been paying attention to how the caravan operated, but that he hadn't learned anything new. The only thing he had noticed was that talk of war was becoming more and more frequent. So what I notice off the bat here is that the Englishman is finding it very hard to be in the present moment. He's like, I've been paying attention to this caravan. I don't see anything. Like, he could have just been like, well, I was paying attention to the caravan and I saw the camels and I saw the dust in the desert and the winds were blowing and it made me contemplate on XYZ and blah, blah, blah. But he was just like, I don't see anything. I
Yeah, he
haven't learned
definitely saw
anything.
something. Was he blindfolded? Like,
I haven't learned anything new. Okay. Okay. All right.
I,
The
why
only
can't
thing
I
he noticed was
learn?
the war. See, here you go. The only thing he noticed was talk of war. It's becoming
Yeah.
more frequent. He was listening to the news
Yeah.
and to the
Oh my
media.
God, you're right. He was participating in the fear mongering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Then one day, the boy returned the books to the Englishman. Did you learn anything? The Englishman asked, eager to hear what it might be. He needed someone to talk to so as to avoid thinking about the possibility of war.
Yeah, see?
He's getting sucked in.
The
Yeah,
more
to the,
things change, the more they stay the same. He
the
was,
media coverage.
yeah, he was a media. Oh,
I learned that the world has a soul and that whoever understands that soul can also understand the language of things. I learned that many alchemists realized their personal legends and wound up discovering the soul of the world, the philosopher's stone, and the elixir of life. But above all, I learned that these things are all so simple that they could be written on the surface of an emerald. Dude,
yeah.
we just not talk about this.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
this reminds me of when you first start to have a spiritual awakening or awakenings and you think you're like, I get it now. And then you don't. But then later you're like, oh, I get it now. So like he's really starting to understand that he's saying it, right? And so yeah, we can only, I guess we can imagine his point of view shifts, like the conclusions that he comes to from here. But yeah, he's getting it.
Yeah. So he said that he learned the world had a soul and that whoever understands that soul can understand the language of things. This makes me kind of think of the stuff that I had been reading with Robert Monroe's stuff. Because if you kind of comprehend that, not that Robert Monroe's stuff talks about like that we're one or anything like that, but in his exploits out of the body in, the astral planes or whatever you want to call those things, um, there was necessarily no physical speech,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there was a, if you understand the language of things, because there's this like nonverbal communication going on with other beings of other realms, and et cetera, et cetera. And um even beings who have passed from this life, um they don't, I don't know that they necessarily speak. I think they speak non-verbally in that realm. um so made me think of that. And the soul of the world makes me think of like the ether, that we're all one, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I could see that. No speaking. It's like a telepathy
Mm-hmm. Kind of
type
like
of
that.
thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll keep reading unless you have other comments.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. And I like how he said that it's so simple, it's all able to be written on the surface of
Yeah.
an emerald.
Yeah, and that's funny because the Englishman keeps saying, "Why you keep simplifying things?"
Yeah.
Right? And he's
Yeah.
like, "It's right there, dude. You just said it was so simple. You can write on an emerald." Well, I'm getting there.
Yeah. He's like, I get that. So why do you have to read these long books? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the Englishman was disappointed. The years of research, the magic symbols, the strange words, and the laboratory equipment, none of this had made an impression on the boy. His soul must be too primitive to understand these things, he thought. He took back his books and packed them away again in their bags. Go back to watching the caravan, he said. That didn't teach me anything either.
The
The boy,
hubris, though. What's the word?
he's all being sarcastic. I'm just kidding. The boy went back to contemplating the silence of the desert sea and the sand raised by the animals. Everyone has his or own way of learning things, he said to himself. And he's right. His way isn't the same as mine, nor mine as his, but we're both in search of our personal legends, and I respect him for that. See, he's even being a bigger person.
Well, yeah. What's he's doing alchemy right there because
Right.
he's taking this guy's giving him lead. He's like, this guy's just giving me lead over here. Like he's
Yeah, he's like, that's not going to teach you anything. It didn't teach
yeah.
me anything. Meh.
And think about how it can relate to anybody, right? When you have to deal with a person and they're trying to vamp off you and they're telling you what a terrible day they had and they're just like, meh, meh, meh. So you could
Yeah.
get involved in that, or you could just say to yourself, some people go through hard things. Look at the inner dialogue of the shepherd. It's great. He's not a victim. He's starting to get it. He's turning that lead and, the lead that the Englishman's giving him, he's turning it into gold. All that attitude and, oh, I guess this guy's just a primitive. It's so funny. He's like, yeah, but he gets it though.
Yeah. And it, just like the same way that Eknath Eshwaran was saying too, like, you can look at that guy with compassion too and just be like, he's he's clearly going through something, whatever it is, and he's got his own path. I have mine, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly how the shepherd looks at it. It's like mind blowing. He's getting it. All right.
The caravan began to travel day and night. The hooded Bedouins reappeared more and more frequently, and the camel driver, who had become a good friend of the boys, explained that the war between the tribes had already begun. The caravan would be very lucky to reach the oasis. The animals were exhausted, and the men talked among themselves less and less. The silence was the worst aspect of the night. when the mere groan of a camel, which before had been nothing but the groan of a camel, now frightened everyone, because it might signal a raid. The camel driver, though, seemed not to be very concerned with the threat of war. I'm alive, he said to the boy as they ate a bunch of dates one night with no fires and no moon. When I'm eating, that's all I think about. If I'm on the march, I just concentrate on marching. How about being in the moment? How's he doing? He's doing good, huh?
This guy's killing it.
If I have to fight, it will be just as good a day to die as any other. He makes me think of the Arjuna that wasn't complaining to Krishna.
Yeah.
Because I don't live in either my past or my future, wow, I'm interested only in the present. If you can concentrate always on the present, you'll be a happy man. You'll see that there is life in the desert, that there are stars in the heavens, and that tribesmen fight because they are part of the human race. Wow. Life
Yep.
will be a party for you, a grand festival, because life is the moment we're living right now. What did Brandon say if he gets locked up in a
FEMA camp. I'm gonna be the funniest guy in the FEMA camp, and if I'm not, I'm gonna shank that motherfucker who's funnier than me. I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
oh
That's
gosh.
that's why I'm not a hippie because I'm a heathen. Well, what's the difference? Well, if I'm not the funniest guy in a FEMA camp, I'll shank the funniest guy so I can. No, I'm just kidding. I'll probably start a comedy team with him. Anyway,
What does
yeah,
it
this guy
mean to
is.
shank? Sorry.
What's that?
What does it mean to shank?
It's like to stab,
Oh,
but in
okay.
in prison they call anything that they can make into a knife like a shank. It's like another,
Oh, okay.
Ask Cody what it means to get shanked.
Okay.
Like Cody, I learned what it means to get shanked today. He'll fucking die laughing.
I mean, I've heard that, but I just never looked it up.
No, I know, but yeah, because you're always like learning things on the show. He's like, I learned what it is to get shanked. You never know what you're gonna learn on the Over Sharon show, everybody. Um, no, but this guy, the driver, he's totally killing it. I mean, could it be that he's a real alchemist, or he's closer to an alchemist than the Englishman is? And this is why we always say here on the show that if somebody is a other religion than there's people that listen to the show a lot that aren't Christians. If you're not a Christian, you don't have to, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, you don't have to judge people, obviously, that are Christians, but somebody could be a Christian and be living just like this camel driver, right? Like in the
Exactly.
present moment, they get it, they read the Bible, and they see that picture, and they don't need to talk to everybody about it and have a podcast. Because for them, they're just living their life and they have a family and that's what's important to them. And they're just like, cool. So that's why I try not to argue the differences between religions, or which one's better anyway, right? Like, because everyone has their own path up the mountaintop, and how dare me challenge somebody else's, you know,
Yeah,
preaching to the choir.
exactly. I think all ways of seeing things are valid and everyone has their reasons for having their views. So, who am I to burst their bubble?
Exactly.
Um,
Boom. Oh, were you
but
done
yeah,
now,
he's
Sunshine?
an Englishman in the Sahara.
That's right. Two
All right.
nights. Here we
Where were
go.
2 nights later? Okay. 2 nights later, as he was getting ready to bed down, the boy looked for the star they followed every night. He thought that the horizon was a bit lower than it had been because he seemed to see stars on the desert itself. It's the oasis, said the camel driver. Well, why don't we go there right now? The boy asked. Because we have to sleep. The
Yeah,
boy
it's a whole new part.
awoke. The
You
boy awoke
wanna?
as the sun. Okay, do you want to keep reading? Do you want to read?
Oh no. You
Or were
could go
you
ahead.
gonna comment?
Yeah, I was gonna. Let me just see because it kind of ends the part. I did want to say I didn't say this last time, and we kind of did say, but it's now they're at the oasis, right, or they're close to it. They could see it the whole time. Once they heard about the war, they were worried that they're gonna get attacked. All these things. he noted how the whole mood of the caravan changed, except for the camel driver, of course, right? So everybody in that caravan that was worried about war and all that stuff, they did that to themselves. The camel driver was fine. He didn't get any indigestion that night, or he didn't contribute to his, dis-ease in the body. He had the elixir of life. He was sipping that, right? And think about, everybody, and I'm sure Sharon gets this, but all this
Sip
stuff
on
that's
that
going
one.
on in the media and the news and in the world and, this and that, and we're freaking out about it. Like, that's the people in the caravan. The driver is just like, I'm living my day, man. It's great. Look outside, the sun's shining, the birds are singing. I'm eating food. He's like, I got food. How can I complain? That's all.
Sip on the elixir of life.
That's right.
I love that.
Oh, here, look. The elixir of life. It's right here in this
Nice.
blue bottle. I won't show the brand. It's a nice spring water. It's a glass bottle, though. It's nice to get spring water in a glass
Cobalt
bottle.
blue. Very
Mm.
nice.
Ah. Yeah. Sweetwater Springs, Saratoga Springs, New York. Mm.
There you go.
Anyway, yes. And I feel like, that's really why they threw the camel driver in there to show you this juxtaposition to a guy who says he's an alchemist or, learning, studying to be one. And then some guy who's just like, I'm a camel driver. Because he doesn't have to brag or be anybody. He doesn't need any titles. He's like, what do you do? I'm a camel driver right now. And we might find out that he was something else in the past too. All right. Yeah, you could read this part and then I could read after that if you want.
Okay. The boy awoke as the sun rose. There in front of him, where the small stars had been the night before, was an endless row of date palms stretching across the entire desert. We've done it, said the Englishman, who had also awakened early. The but the boy was quiet. He was at home with the silence of the desert.
There you
Ooh.
go. What were we just talking about? Oh, keep going. I'm sorry, because yeah.
No, for real, yeah. And he was content just to look at the trees. See, he's in the moment.
Yeah, he's not celebrating or being so he didn't partake in being worried about the war or celebrating that they got there. He was just like chilling, just like the driver. He's like, why don't we go there now? He's like, because we got to sleep. You know, what else are you gonna do? Sorry, go ahead
Yeah.
now.
No, it's good. He still had a long way to go to reach the pyramids. And someday this morning would be just a memory.
Have you ever had those thoughts to yourself when you were younger?
Which ones?
Like someday today will just be a memory?
I suppose I have. Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder if, I love his inner dialogue. I used to think that a lot when I was a kid too. That's why I was just wondering,
Yeah.
like, you're right. It's such a good, way to stay in the present moment.
Yeah. I feel like I've recently had that like
Ah,
thought.
I want to start doing it more. I did it more when I was younger.
Hmm.
Cool.
But this was the present moment. The party the camel driver had mentioned, and he wanted to live it as he did the lessons of his past and his dreams of the future. Although the vision of the date palms would someday be just a memory, right now it signified shade, water, and a refuge from the war. Yesterday, the camel's groan signaled danger, and now a row of date palms could herald a miracle. The world speaks many languages, the boy thought.
All right. Again, there's a lot more of this. He's just so in the moment, right? Compared to the Englishman celebrating and stuff, and he's really starting to make some super giant realizations. And for me, he could turn around right now and he got his treasure in my mind. I mean, I'm sure there's still other things, but he's already on the path. Like he doesn't, he could go be whatever he wants to be anywhere and he would figure it out from here. Like he's already past the point of no return
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. He's on his dharma and his path. for sure.
All
On
right.
his Tao.
Tao. The times rush past, and so do the caravans, thought the alchemist as he watched the hundreds of people and animals arriving at the oasis. People were shouting at the new arrivals. So here we get a new whole change of point of view, and it's the alchemist himself that they're going to see. Dust obscured the desert sun, and the children of the oasis were bursting with excitement at the arrival of the strangers. The alchemist saw the tribal chiefs greet the leader of the caravan and converse with him at great length. But none of that mattered to the alchemist. He had already seen many people come and go, and the desert remained as it was. He had seen kings and beggars walking the desert sands. The dunes were changed constantly by the wind, yet these were the same sands he had known These were the same sands he had known since he was a child. He had always enjoyed seeing the happiness that the travelers experienced when, after weeks of yellow sand and blue sky, they first saw the green of the date palms. Maybe God created the desert so that man could appreciate the date trees, he thought. Sounds like something you'd hear in Dune. He decided to concentrate, and I love this too. It's like a throwaway line. Maybe God created the desert so that man could appreciate the date trees. And so, most people, how do they view a desert, right? They're like, oh, why does this desert have to be, or why do I have to cross it? He's looking at it as, oh, maybe, this is why. He decided to concentrate on more practical matters. He knew that in the caravan there was a man to whom he was to teach some of his secrets. The omens had told him so. When he didn't know the man yet, but his practiced eye would recognize him when he appeared. He hoped that it would be someone as capable as his previous apprentice. I don't know why these things have to be transmitted by words of mouth, he thought. It wasn't exactly that they were secrets. God revealed his secrets easily to all his creatures.
Hmm. Hmm.
God revealed his secrets easily to all his creatures. It's because we choose not to pay attention. We choose to take our attention and put it on the Oversharing Show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go to morelawsmoreproblems.com. Click on the Oversharing tab for more. Shout out to the chat. You guys are great. I'm not ending the episode. I'm just throwing that in there. But yeah, this is a huge point, I think, because this is something we say all the time, and the Alchemist is saying it right here. What do you think?
Absolutely. Um, I was when he said he knew that someone was coming,
Yeah.
but I was at first I was like, I can't remember how he knew. And then it said the omens had told him, right? Um,
Yeah.
so and it's like, okay, who is it gonna be? Is it gonna be the guy that thinks he's an up and coming alchemist, the Englishman in the Sahara? Or is it the shepherd boy? Who is it?
Yeah. Who indeed? And I also, just to make some commentary on the book, I love how they don't tell you what the omens are. You just come in right to his point of view, so they're not giving away any alchemical secrets or whatever. You're just getting his point of view right then. He's just like, the omens told me. Which ones? I don't know.
Yeah,
In the moment.
right. I mean, who knows what
Oh, sorry.
the omens could be that he's receiving?
Exactly.
Like you said, you see an owl and it tells you something. Like maybe you have to look it up the first few times and or however many times. And then you're like, okay, I get the message. Now I realize what when I see an owl, I kind of get what it's trying to tell me. What is it telling me in my life right now? And that's your omen right there.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as because they'll say one person who has like we'll just say vibrating on a higher consciousness, right? And for that example, I mean the shepherd boy because the way he's looking at things and the camel driver, right? They're kind of bringing up the whole vibration, if you will. And so maybe that's transmitted somehow through the creatures of the desert. There's this beautiful like when you walk through the woods sometimes depending on your vibration, sometimes animals just want to hang out with you. So who
Yeah.
knows what the omens could be, right? And if he has this contact that they were talking about, like the elixir of life and this soul of the world, if he has a connection with it, I mean, he could be getting direct communication. Who knows? He could be at night watching the caravan come, like from the astral plane. So I love how they just leave it open though, because it takes the focus away from any kind of religion or putting any religion or even a power or some kind of ability up on a pedestal.
It's all God's. It's
Yeah.
all God's powers.
Yeah, you don't have to try to like if they said what the omen was, then there'd be people who were like trying to do that, like all day. All right.
Could
Are you
be.
ready? We'll get back into
Yeah,
it for a little bit.
where
We still
where are
got
we? We
still
have
got
like 10 minutes maybe for the 2 hour mark.
All right. He had only one explanation for this fact. Things have to be transmitted this way because they were made up from the pure life. And
Hmm.
this kind of life cannot be captured in pictures or words.
Mm.
I like how they put pictures there too, because they'll be like, pictures worth 1,000 words. Well, guess what? This pure
Yeah.
life is worth all your pictures and words. Uh,
Yeah. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then 1,000 pictures is worth a lot of nonverbal communication.
Tons of it.
Is worth a lot of telepathy.
Yeah. And 1,000 telepathies. No. Because people become fascinated with pictures and words and wind up forgetting the language of the world. This is exactly what I said. That's why they didn't put because people would become fascinated,
Mm-hmm.
right, with the method and they put it on a pedestal. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what's going on, right? That's why you got to read the omens. It's another thing. I mean, this might be a good place to stop and just talk for a minute if you want. I don't.
Yeah, yeah, we have like 9 minutes before the 2 hour mark, so that's cool.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably cool if we keep it right under two. It won't be daunting to people. Well, I really like this part, even though we probably didn't read as much as we normally do on the episode of this length. There was a lot here, a lot of different characters. We got more point of views. Usually you only get one point of view, sometimes two. This one we had like four. Um, well, maybe not totally the three. I don't know. Anyway, but I also like the juxtaposition of the different points of views of this war that's going on. Like some people, everyone's so worried about it, and some people don't even care. It really reminds me, it's a way to make this story modern. This could be a total modern story. You don't have to be traveling through a desert. It could be going on a whatever it is, a
I
spiritual
mean, could
thing.
it be that these things still do happen today? Like he
Yeah.
wrote this in the 70s or the 80s or something. So I don't think I mean, I don't know if he wrote it as a piece that was supposed to happen hundreds of years ago or if it was a modern piece, because you can't really tell, right?
Yeah, there's no cars, but that could still be
Well,
18th.
they are not mentioning the cars.
You're right. They're not mentioning the car.
They're in small towns.
Yeah.
They're by the sea, so there's a ship that's going to take them to across the Mediterranean into, I mean, that'd be the probably the way to go, right?
But it
If he's
doesn't
a
say what kind
shepherd.
of ship either, right? It doesn't say like if
I
it's,
don't I
you
don't
know.
think so.
Yeah, I like how he left it like that because you're right. It is so timeless. You
It's
can
kind of
really,
timeless, yeah.
you could do this now. Let's go to the desert, everybody. Yeah, I mean, it really, this part was really, really good. And I like it too because we're setting it up now. So when we come back next time, everybody, for our installment of reading this, we're gonna see what happens with the boy and with the alchemist and with the Englishman. So many things are gonna come to a head, and I still don't know what happens at the end of this book, so I'm excited too.
Yeah, because you've decided to hold back on finishing it.
Yeah, I was gonna just take a break, but now that we get closer, I'm like, hmm. All
Yeah, do
right,
whatever
well,
you want.
yeah. You have to get up. You have to get up pretty early in the morning to catch the Over Sharon show. That's right. You got to get up real
He's
early, at
in
least.
Philippines. Blue Kachina's in Philippines.
Oh, it's 4:55 in the morning. What's up, Blue?
Yeah, we
Uh,
got Cosmic Joe showed up earlier too.
yeah, what's up, Joe? I was gonna say hi to him. I saw when you were talking, but then I Didn't want to interrupt you, but then yeah. What's up, Joe? I'm gonna see him this weekend actually in person.
Oh,
We're
cool.
gonna work together a bunch. Yeah. Um,
Sweet.
Guten Morgen. Yeah,
That
so I
was
hope you
me.
guys are
That was me.
yeah, I saw. I was just going through. Sip on the elixir of life elixir. I like to say elixir. Elixir. Yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well and enjoyed this episode. Thank you guys so much. Remember, morelawsmoreproblems.com is the website. Click on the Over Sharon tab. There's several ways to support us there financially, but like we always say, the best way to support us is to subscribe, like, share it
Subscribe.
around, thumbs it up, leave comments. Let us know what you think. Did we nail it? Do you have questions? Are you listening? Is this thing on? Let us know. We like to hear, we like to interact. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like this story is great. It's just really there's so many omens now in my life, especially since I've been looking at them as omens and calling them then calling omens instead of synchronicities. Or we still say that, but it feels more holy, right? Like
Yeah. Feels like
more of
more
like
biblical.
yeah, it's more biblical. I'm like, whoa, because I remember growing up, there was that movie, The Omen or whatever, and it was like a horror movie or something. So
Oh
that's
God.
was my introduction to the word omen. I don't even know if I saw the movie or just remember people talking about it, probably bits and pieces, but. So I always thought it was like a bad thing, you know? And
Bad
then
omens.
that's probably why they made a movie called Omen and made a bad I don't know. But yeah, the omens are everywhere. It's really really amazing. We saw
It's
uh,
almost like Amen. Like
yeah,
Amen Ra.
Maktub.
Yes, it is written.
It is. Thanks, Tony. We'll see you guys later. Yeah. Have a great weekend, everybody. Let us know if you tried any of these things we've been talking about, or let us know in the comments if you had a situation that you were able to alchemize. If somebody gave you lead and you were able to turn it into gold, let us know.
Indeed.
Yeah. Anything else, Sharon?
Nope.
All right. Well, yeah. You know what? It's so funny because I was holding one too. Here, it's Crystal Show and Tell time. This is a little tiger's eye thing I have.
Look at this old guitar pick that I had that I found from high school. I don't even know who gave it to me, but
Oh,
I think it's stone.
oh. That's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe carnelian?
Maybe. Or like Jasper. I don't know.
Jasper, yeah.
I can't tell. Maybe carnelian.
And remember, everybody, the Great Pyramid Scheme. I just learned about a Ponzi scheme. Which one was it? I'm trying to think. My lovely wife was watching a documentary about something, and it came up, and I didn't realize what a. Well, it's better than. Oh yeah,
The
there you go.
Great Pyramid Scheme.
We got the best Ponzi. It's a Fonzie scheme. Fozzie, we can't say that because Jim Henson will sue us beyond the grave. It's a
The best pyramid scheme ever. The
best pyramid
Great
scheme.
Pyramid Scheme of the Oversharon
That's right.
Show.
You just got to get your Shungai pyramid and join us, and you don't ever have to be afraid of anything. That's really how belief
Yeah.
system works. If you just think that you're gonna have this and nothing's ever gonna touch you, then it probably won't. So yeah. Oh, that's cool. Ooh, it must be time to eat. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for everybody who hung out way. Yeah, Stacy Sunshine says because Disney bought the Muppets. Yeah,
The
it was.
Muppets. My
It would be Disney coming after us. Like we're gonna get a flag. You
God.
can't say Fozzie Bear. No, I said Ponzi scheme.
Fonzie, Ponzi.
Yeah, it's probably why I named him
The
that.
Fonz.
Yeah, Fonzarelli. Yeah. So everybody have a great weekend. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end, and make sure you check us out in our next installment of The Alchemist, where we'll be reading it and giving commentary. Well, What do we say to good people, Sharon?
That once you start over Sharon,
Then you totally stop over Karen.
that's right.
Just like we said all this episode long. And remember, everybody, just because we were saying it doesn't mean we're trying to tell you how to live.
Yeah, we're just teaching you how to sip on the elixir of life, guys.
That's right, in a transmutational way.
Sip
Remember,
on that.
this episode is very transmutational. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Until next time, keep over sharing, and we'll see you later. Ciao. I can't end it again. It's making me log in. Hi, everybody. Hi, YouTube. Thank you. YouTube's making me log in to end the show. It's just,
Oh my gosh.
it's funny because I never have to
Why is
log
it
into
doing
YouTube,
that all of a sudden?
but it's only happened when I was. You know what it is? It's an omen. It wants us to keep going.
Yeah.
All
And
right, everybody. I
it's
can
probably
now
gonna
hit
end at
end.
some like amazing time.
There it goes. Your stream will stop immediately and you will no longer be live. End stream. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye. Ciao.